Hello, hello. Welcome to our 12 days of live streams. I believe we're on day 6. I've lost track. I should have checked before I got on here. How is everyone today? Let me get over it. Let's look at the comments here. Oh, we actually have some comments. Woohoo! Oh, we've got HJ's here and Kimberly Russo. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly from Florida. And Amaris is here. Hello, Amaris. Amaris is from Georgia. Oh, excellent. Kimberly's been binge watching us. We love that. I've been doing this for about a year now, and my first 6 months were a big learning curve, let's just say. All right. That's a great question. I'm going to bring this one up. I'd love to know. This is a great question. What is a historical time period that you really want to do, but you think is too hard? Let's see, for me, question. For me, actually, one of the things I've been working on is Egyptian. And while I think that some of it is fairly simple to make as far as the clothing goes, it's really a lot about jewelry and then the research. Some of the early period stuff, the research is the hard part, So I think that and migration era is another one that I've been wanting to do. I think it would be really cool to do migration through 16th century German and all that. I mean, I love all periods. I want to do all centuries, but I think some of the earlier stuff I find difficult because just the research, really, And like I said, the Egyptian stuff, it's hard to know how it was made, and the research, and then a lot of it is jewelry, and so that's actually one of the things I've been learning is jewelry, or I've experimented, I've dabbled a bit, so, but I want to do more. So, what about the rest of you? All right, so today we're continuing with gifts. Today we're doing gifts made of wire, and we're going to start out, and the reason why we're doing this is because obviously I came out with my making hook and eye video today, and so I'm going to show you a great way to turn those into a great gift, a gift that would be good to present, because you could just throw hooks and eyes at somebody, but we can make it look cool too. And so to start out with, we're going to do some rings. One of the, if you look into, there's actually you see this, the wire rings that are made pretty, throughout history, really. I have found stuff from the Victorian period. There's early stuff. There is, since the Egyptian period, you see wire jewelry. Spirals are definitely a thing, and they continue into the early medieval period. And as well as there are a few, I think I found one or two that are post-medieval, so which is great. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do the ring that this is based on, I believe, is an early medieval one. So I have, oops, you're going to see my hands. Ooh, terrible. Terrible. Why am I getting feedback? Oh, there we go. I hadn't muted that mic. Okay. So I have a mandrel. This is a ring mandrel, but you don't have to use a ring mandrel. You could just get a dowel that is the size of the diameter of the finger that you want to do. And then I just cut myself. I'm using 20 gauge wire. I just find it easier to work with. I've tried this with 18 gauge and I struggled. So 20 gauge I found to work pretty well. Like I said, I'm really new to the whole jewelry thing, but this is pretty fun. I just cut myself off a 12-inch piece. Let's see. All right, so for this, I'm going to do, I want to do 11 because I know that that'll fit my index finger. I'm just going to take my piece of wire and I'm going to wrap it around the mandrel, trying to keep it as tight as possible. And usually I hold this in my lap, so this will be interesting. All right, we're going to bring this around until they basically cross over. So what I'm keeping everything stacked. I know my internet is not great today, it seems. I may have to do an actual video for this at some point so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So then I want to pull it tight. I want to make sure I'm in the spot that I want to be in, which I am. And I want to pull this good and tight. And then I'm going to take, I'm just going to use my fingers for this. I'm going to just bend this down, bend this one down, and this one up. And then I'm going to kind of wrap them around. And I'm also just trying to keep these as even as possible as they come around. I'm going to start to spiral this one. And I'm going to spiral this one as well. They're just going to kind of follow each other. I'm going to try to keep the spirals nice and tight so that it's like they're like little spirals inside of each other. Just going to spiral it around like so. And then just kind of smush it a little to kind of keep it in line when it starts to fight me like that. And again, when working with wire, you want to move the wire around the thing. So if I'm using pliers, I will move the wire around the pliers. Okay, and there's all sorts of rings like this. And there's the British Museum, and I'll put this in the description box, but the British Museum hosts a database that has pictures of finds. And this is one of them. There's all sorts. So there's lots of inspiration out there. Okay, so I've got this pulled around, and I like the size of that spiral. I think that's a pretty good size. So now that that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this, I'm going to go continue in the direction that I'm going in. I'm going to wrap it around the ring part. And this is the part that I found really difficult to do with the thicker wire. So I might have to figure that out if I want to do thicker rings. And I'm just going to wrap it around I think about 5 times is what I like to do. And then I'm going to come back around here. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to bring it in. I kind of squished my spiral. That's the beauty of these things. They're handmade, so they don't need to be perfect, right? There we go. That's more like it. There we go. And this is a bit long. I'm going to cut a little bit of this off because if it's too long, it's harder to wrap. All right, and then I'm just going to bring that in. I'm going to wrap 1. And I'm just going to hold the spiral with my pliers because that keeps everything in place as I do this wrap. Okay, and then I want to make those look even. I need to go one more time with this one. Great. And then what I want to do is I'm going to cut the wire off. I want to cut it so that it's at the top of the ring so that it doesn't poke my fingers. And then I'm just going to crunch it down. Okay. And then I'm just going to stick it back on my mandrel to give it a, and then also the other thing I should say too is because we have the little wire wrapping around it, you want to start out a little bit bigger than the size that you want it to be. And so there's my ring. So now, since this is a gift, I came up with a fun way. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece. I'm using, with these things, I don't want to do a whole lot of work on my gift wrap because, you know, I've already done the work on making the gift. So I like to use, I'm going to use some, this is a wool Melton, so it doesn't, so it doesn't fray. So you could use that or a felt. And I'm going to cut a strip that's about 2 inches by 4 inches. Okay. And then once that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my finished one that I already did. Then I'm going to lay my ring on top of it. I'm just going to stitch it on there. You can see I stitched it on there. And then I can go like that. Grab a little piece of what I did. This is just braided yarn, actually. And then tie a little bow. And then we have a nice little presentation of a gift ready to go. All right, so let's see, let's get to the chat again. All right, let's see. So AJ says, I've been working on a very, let's bring this up so I can see it better. I've been working on a very interesting garment called a dasaish, which is a type of tight-fitting dress, and it would have been full length. Interesting. And is this the I believe you said Croatian? Something to that effect, if I remember correctly. And then you're asking, oh, how to get in contact with me. You can contact me on Instagram, just message on Instagram. We're at Thimble and Plume, and it's just all one word. So Kimberly says, I was in Hobby Lobby looking at wire for hooks and eyes and watching yesterday's video. Yay! So how do you keep the wire from straightening? Is it hardened? Actually, no. You don't need to harden it. You're going to start out with soft jewelry wire and just the bending it and the working it. So you're basically hardening it as you work. It's a small piece and you're putting it in some tight curves, and they just by working it, that's doing the hardening for you. So you don't have to do any firing or anything. It's once you bend it into shape, it's hardened. It's ready to go. And that's what I think one of the great things about making your own hooks and eyes. I mean, it's so simple. It is so simple, and they just, I don't know, it really just adds that special touch. And that's the next thing we're going to do. So first step before you can wrap this gift is you have to go make it. So you got to watch my video to do that. And so you're going to come out, I'm going to use, for this, I'm just going to do 6 hooks and eyes. I have them made here. And again, I've cut out a piece of felt. Let's go back to my hands. So Sorry about that. I pushed the wrong button. So I've cut out a piece of, again, you can use wool felt. You can use synthetic felt too that you get at the craft store. That's fine too. You just want something that isn't going to fray. And so what I've done is I've just put them in a row. I've got 8 here. So this will be my 8th one. And I stitch them on. And then when I get ready to do the next one, this goes really quickly. So I just come in, put it down right next to it. And I'm just going to take like 2 stitches. And I don't cut it in between. I'm literally just chain stitching this on here, basically. It's not a chain stitch, but it's kind of that whole idea. All right, and so then once I get to that, then I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And so I can move to the eyes. And I'm going to just do a simple knot. Okay, I don't think I have enough on that one. So then to do the eyes, so these are going to flop around until you get the eyes on. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, and I'm going to take my eye, and I'm just going to put it onto my hook like so. This is very similar to how you know, if you look at the old packages of hooks and eyes, this is how they were packaged on there. And so it's just a great presentation. And since it's on a little piece of fabric, and you could do, if you wanted to, you could do like velvet or something, but this way you don't have to finish any edges. Then I put the next eye on there. It's different. This hook's a little shorter. These were the eyes that I made during our competition, or these were the hooks and eyes I made during our competition, and I did them very quickly, so they're not very. I didn't take care in making them, so I was rushing. And it was funny because when I was editing the video, I didn't look at the footage until after. I was so impressed that Mullen had done 7.5. And then I was looking as I was editing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so good at it, you know. One of the things I noticed though, she doesn't change the pliers out like I do. She has a much better set of pliers than I do, so she's able to use the center of the pliers, which I thought was really eye-opening. So that might be something I'm going to look for. She says that she got those pliers a long time ago, so. But I'm going to look for a better set for myself. So I'm going to bend that. And then we'll just keep going. Keep on going down here. Sounded like somebody was coming in. I don't know that Eric knows that I'm live streaming right now. He was napping. It's his day off today. I'm curious, Kimberly, were you able to find any wire over at Hobby Lobby? You know, you saw in the video, I had the darndest time. I don't know if it was just the stores I went to or what, but you know, everybody seemed to be out, and I went to 2 different Joann's, but everybody seemed to be out of wire. So I know that there's a supply chain issue happening all over the world. So I wonder if that's part of it. Ah, okay, so it is the medieval Croatian thing. All right. Where's the I didn't pull out enough hooks. I didn't put down enough eyes. I'll do one more. Dropped one. Oops. Should stay in the frame. Do one more eye. So I'm curious, what got you interested in the Croatian clothing, and is it hard to find research on that? You speak the language? I'm just curious. That's the thing. I find that sometimes doing stuff, I have a great interest also in Hungarian stuff because, you know, during the 16th century, the Holy Roman Empire, you get a lot of the Bohemia is a big part of that. You know, Bohemian queen married the Habsburg prince, and so I actually am very interested in that stuff. But sometimes doing the research is hard because I do not speak the language at all, and I also run into that with doing German stuff. So I do have friends that help me sometimes with translations. All right, so that's ready. That's done. So then I'm going to fold this side over. Just going to give it a little roll up here. I don't want to fold that over. I should have put another one on. Give it a little roll. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take another little cord and tie it off. I can finish off this edge. It's going to fray if I don't tie it off. So let me do that. All right, and there it is. So our two little gifts today, we've got a cute little ring and a little hook and eye package. I hope you enjoyed that. Just out of curiosity, does anybody, are you planning on, I was thinking these would be fun little stocking stuffers, or, you know, stuff for handmade things for, I know I usually do them for 12th night, or probably what I'm going to do is for these, I'm going to keep them in my basket for tokens when I'm at art displays so I can show my appreciation. So, oh, they had wire, but none said dead soft. Usually, if you look for, if it says jewelry wire, then usually it's dead soft. Just stay away from aluminum. Whatever you do, don't get aluminum. That's what I noticed that in the video. I didn't say that, but I wrote it on the screen. That's what it's like, copper or brass. Don't do aluminum because the aluminum, you know, it's just not going to be sturdy enough. But the copper and brass is great. Really, they're both base metals, so they're kind of made. The difference, they have the same mixture. They just have different percentages of the mixture. So, but yeah, it may not say dead soft, but if you find jewelry wire, it's good. I did on the video, I put a link to the stuff I bought on Amazon, so that might help you. Also, you know, Fire Mountain Gem, I think it's called. And then there's another jewelry place. If you want to do like fine silver, you can order some fine silver too, like for the rings is what I'm thinking. I wouldn't do my hooks on. Well, you could do some fancy dress hooks out of, there is some gilt wire that was some silver wire that was the dress hooks from later in the 16th century. But they're fancier, but they're very similarly shaped and they could be done by hand too. So yeah. Said, I think you would enjoy reading my book about Croatian medieval dress. Oh, I would. Where is it available? Tell me more. I'd love to know more about that. Yeah. That's cool. I would love to know more about that. You know, I don't know much about Croatian dress. That isn't something, especially medieval. Like, you know, it's one of those things that a lot of it is it's so generalized, and then you start looking at certain cultures and you start to find the differences. It's like with German Renaissance dress, same thing. it looks a lot similar, but then when you start looking closer and you look at the different regions at the time, because technically it was Germanic speaking lands because it was the Holy Roman Empire, and it's very confusing. And so once I started looking into that and I found out about the different regions, and each region kind of corresponded to where the different tribes settled. And they all have differences in dress. And while the silhouettes are similar, you'll see different accessories sometimes. Sometimes the shapes are different or the sleeves are different. So like if you look at something from Saxony during the 1630s or 1530s, and then you look at something from Bavaria during the same time, you can see the similarities, but there's also like the sleeves are very different, but they still have the open front with the lacing running through it. So it's really cool. I love seeing the differences in the different cultures and different regions of the world. And it's just, I find that really interesting. So yes, I would absolutely be interested in your book. So please actually send me a message on Instagram and tell me more about it. I would love to know more. So, all right, folks, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I really enjoy these live streams. I've actually been enjoying it a lot. I didn't do one yesterday because my video ended up, I spent way too much time editing that one, but I was having such a blast with some of the special effects and stuff I was looking up. Like I said, I get these ideas in my head and then I regret them later. But I don't. When it's done, I don't regret them. In the middle of editing, I absolutely am cursing myself. So anyways, that's why I wasn't able to do one yesterday. And then it took forever for it to render and upload. So, and I had a big headache, and yeah, I would not have been any good. So I will probably, I'm thinking I might do, oops. That's not what I meant to do. I was thinking I might do an extra one either on Christmas or the day after Christmas. Probably the day after Christmas, because on Christmas, most people are going to be spending time with their family. I don't know. Let me know what you would prefer. I'm down for it. So all right, I'm signing off. And if you have not seen the hook and eye video on how to make the hooks and eyes, I'll put a link in the description box below, but it's the most recent video that we have released today. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.